Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Channel Wisdom Circle. We nixed the the countdown today because we're just trying to test a couple things. So, waiting for a couple people to join. Okay, we are here. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Channel Wisdom Circle. And as you know, I'm Monica Bay, also known as the Divine Mother. I always forget to introduce myself. And on the Channel Wisdom Circle, I channel the Cosmic Collective Consciousness, which is a collective consciousness, a collection of streams of consciousness from the cosmos that speak through me, that work through me, and all kinds of things. Yes, hola is to you as well. So today, the Cosmic Collective Consciousness wants to talk about when things don't go your way, when people when you make plans and the things that you intended to happen aren't happening. Things come in, surprises come in and interrupt your pathway. Your and you had a very specific plan. And let me lean in, right? You have a very specific plan, and everything was based on that plan, and then something comes and interrupts it. What do you do? How do you react? How do you respond? We remember we we respond, not react. But in reality, most people react, right? And the most common, yes, the detours, the most common reaction when things don't go your way is anger, frustration, disbelief, lack of acceptance. You go through a period of grief, right? You have to go through the stages of grief. What you're grieving is the potential future and the potential trajectory that you thought you were on, right? And then something just came and interrupted. One thing to remember when things like that happen is it's an interruption, not a halt. Okay. A lot of times when things come in and interrupt and surprise us, and there's a plot twist, right? There's a plot twist in our path. Then a lot of times we immediately think that okay, this isn't going to happen, and then there's also fear that sets in. And remember, fear is a lack of self-trust, is rooted in a lack of self-trust. So when you immediately react in that fear, you're really not trusting yourself. You're really in that moment not trusting your own path, not trusting your ability to move through that. So the fear and the frustration is also stemming from that fear. That frustration is also there saying, "Oh no, maybe this isn't going to happen. Maybe this thing I've been planning this entire time is actually not going to come to pass." And so, like I just said, you have to remember that it's a surprise, it's a interruption, not a halt. Nothing can stop you unless you allow yourself to be stopped or unless you stop yourself. All right, Alita said, already extremely grateful for this message. Perfect timing. My pivot game is getting much stronger. Yes. Yes. You know what? I love that you called it a pivot game because that's what you guys need, a pivot game. You need to be like stick and move. You need to be able to you need to be able to pivot in life. That is life. Things don't always go according to plan, right? And so when things don't go according to plan, we have to respond appropriately. But it's important to respond with power. And if something is important enough to you, if something is truly important enough to you, then it's worth fighting for. If it's not worth fighting for, then don't fight. Period. Okay. Message. But if you let something stop you because it's just a surprise, it's just a detour, it's just a pivot or a plot twist, if you let something stop you, then what you're saying is that's not worth fighting for. That's not important enough for me to figure out a solution. It's not important enough for me to battle myself. You have to go to battle with yourself at times. It's not important enough for me to battle myself to get, you know, in that to get to the destination that I want to get to. I get salty, but but I let it go. Yes. Most of us are. I'm reading the comments now. C. Clark says most of us are grossly underestimate the obstacles that will get in the way of where we want to go. Exactly, exactly. That is the key. We do underestimate it, and that's oftentimes why we set a plan and it doesn't go according to plan. Because a lot of times when we are doing that plan, we're not taking into account all the crazy things that can happen. right? That doesn't mean don't make the plan. That doesn't mean don't move down the path, but you have to always be stay ready so you don't have to get ready is what I'm saying. You always have to be ready and prepared to pivot if you need to pivot. That's not meaning that you need to have an expectation of things not going your way. You should expect things to go the way that you plan them to go. However, be nimble enough, be flexible enough to know that if something comes in your path, if something comes and interrupts that trajectory, that plan that you have, that you can move around it. You can find a way, and that's what self-trust is about, understanding that you are intelligent. You are a creature of adaptation when you allow yourself to adapt. A lot of times your emotions don't allow yourself to adapt because you get stuck in the coulda, shoulda, woulda, and this is what I want it to be. You don't want to accept the reality of what it is right now, and that you need to pivot, you need to move. You need to like I always say, you have to go, if there's a boulder in your way, you either have to go through it, blow it up, around it, over it, under it. Either way, you don't let that boulder stop you if it's important enough to you. A lot of times sometimes you have a plan and you've been working towards something, and maybe it's not important enough to you to fight for. If something, here's a test. If something isn't important enough for you to fight for, you shouldn't even do it. You shouldn't even start down that path. If you have a goal that you're not willing to fight for, you shouldn't even be doing that goal because it's not coming from here. It's not important enough to you. So when something comes in the way, you're going to stop. As soon as something comes in the way, you're going to stop. So when you do something that other people are telling you to do, or you do something that looks good because you're doing it because it's going to look good to other people, or it's going to maybe make you feel good more, it's more of a status thing or something like that, but it's not something that you are actually passionate for. You don't actually care about this thing. Don't even bother doing it because chances are there will be a plot twist at some at some point. And if you're not willing to fight for that plot twist, if you're not willing to fight to go around that plot twist, to do that detour, then you're just going to stop. So the things that you're going after need to also be important to you. They need to be, if it's worth doing any effort at all, it should be something that you are willing to fight for, that you want bad enough, that if when something comes in your path to disrupt it, to alter it, to test you, okay, because that's also what happens a lot of times. You're being tested with these detours. Do you want it bad enough? That's one of the tests. The more important test is, uh, how do you respond to this? How do you respond when something tries to stop you? How do you respond when something comes in your way that is not what you wanted it to be? How do you respond? Are you reacting emotionally, getting stuck in victimhood, getting stuck in a quicksand of negativity and of despair and of disbelief and all of those things, and a lack of belief in yourself and your path? Or are you responding by saying, okay, I don't like this. This is not what I planned on doing. However, I still want this goal. So I'm not going to take no for an answer, and I'm going to figure out how to get it. It's that fire that you need underneath you for those things. So for some of you who are in those situations right now where things are not going the way that you want them to go, you've got plot twists coming. You have surprises, as they say, surprise, surprise. So you have these plot twists, you have these surprises coming in. Okay, you have these things that you didn't expect that pose a threat to that end result that you want. Are you worth fighting? Is it worth fighting for? Are you willing to fight for it? Do you want it bad enough? And if the answer is no, you shouldn't have started it to begin with. If the answer is yes, then stand up. Stand up and figure out with your brain and your spirit how to move around that boulder, how to pivot, how to work around whatever that obstacle is, because there's always a way. The solution is always present. It's just whether or not you are open and still enough to receive it. Stillness is required to be able to receive and to be able to see the solutions to any problem. That's problem solving 101. You can't problem solve when you have all this stuff going on. You've got everything going on. You have to be still in order to see the solution. You have to be still in order to receive the solution because you have all the answers in here. And all the solutions to every problem that you have are in here. But if you're always out hanging out, you're always busy work, you always have the noise on, you always whatever, you're always scrolling through social media, you're always talking on the phone, you're always texting, whatever, that's not silence. That's noise, and you're not able to sit and receive. I'm going to read a couple comments. I'm just going to call you the glow coach because that's it's always a thing. Tongue twister. She said, speaking of mothers, I wonder how mothers were back in the day, way back when they navigated their days. Well, yeah. I mean, similar to now. I mean, what is today is no different than what was before. It looks different because of our culture and the way that we move about our day. But the issues themselves have always remained as long as humanity has been here. That stillness is a message for me this season. Yes, yes, stillness is very important. And in fact, I'm going into a period of stillness that I started today, which I do from time to time, but I'm going into a stillness right now where I'm fasting. Starting today, I'm fasting and going into silence outside of my live streams and classes I have to teach and things like that. In between that, my phone is off and I'm just in complete silence. Why? Because I feel lots of messages. They're in here, and silence is required to really, really receive the transmissions with clarity. I get the transmissions all the time, but as you guys know, I'm a very busy person. So that's the silence is important. So that's something I'm doing right now as well. But especially when you are in problem solving mode, silence is key. You have to have silence in order to really be able to clearly see the problem and really be able to clearly get the answer and the solution to that and then be able to implement that because sometimes we get the solutions but then we're still foggy, and that's because there's no clarity. So one of the things that needs to happen in order to receive that clarity is you need to cleanse your field and your channel. We have a center channel that goes up all from actually above our head all the way down to the base of our spine. And that channel, it just like if you imagine a pipe that's clogged, okay, we need that clear. Okay, we need to put some Drano down there. We need to get it clear. We need to clear that out. Yes, and oh, thank you for reminding me, Alita. We have the Sacred Rhythm Fast coming June 20th and June 22nd. So if you guys would like to participate in that, it is a quarterly fast that we do on the solstices and the equinoxes. And this one is for the summer solstice. It will be June 20th to June 22nd. Everyone can just participate. It doesn't cost anything. This is something that we do at Mystic Temple as one of our traditions. And every solstice and equinox, we fast for 3 days. And it is not a complete fast without food, just so you know, because some people get scared when they hear fasting. There's different kinds of fasting. And this type of sacred rhythm fast, really quick, is you are able to eat at nighttime, but throughout the entire day you abstain from food and we drink herbal teas and we meditate and we silence ourselves and all kinds of stuff, and we have a whole entire document on it, which if you are interested in that, simply comment down here and we can send that to you, whatever platform you're on. If you're listening to the podcast, I don't know if you're able to comment. I think you are, depending on what platform you're on, but if you respond down, we will send that to you. But you can also definitely get that in our Telegram group because, yeah, we give all the resources and everything in the Telegram group. So definitely join the Telegram group. If we can put that up here. If you're not in the Telegram group, definitely join. And then you will get all the information on the Sacred Rhythm Fast. It's very, very powerful. And everyone always sees a difference. We have tons and tons of people that participate in this every quarter, and they're always getting lots of results. Like I don't think there's anyone who doesn't get a transformation of some sort during the Sacred Rhythm Fast. And it's called the Sacred Rhythm Fast because it moves with the rhythm of the earth. It moves with, because it's on equinoxes and solstices. So the fast moves with the rhythm of the earth. And it's very, very good to do. So this is good, in the context of what we're talking about today. It's also, this is very good to be able to have a time to get in silence, because a lot of times we forget to move into silence because we're so busy in our lives, especially if you have children, if you have, spouses, and you have jobs and all these things. We're busy people, right? And so it's very hard to find those times and to even remember to, go into silence. And so this is a good opportunity to be reminded to go into silence every quarter, and at least do it every quarter. If you do that, then you're generally good. And sometimes you need to do it more often. It depends on what you have going on. It depends on what you feel you're being called for and what's being presented in front of you. But if you are having an issue, back to the topic, if you are having an issue with things moving in your path and plot twists, it's time. First, ask yourself the question: is this worth fighting for? Because sometimes you're gonna have to fight. Okay, is this worth fighting for? Sometimes that fight could just be simply, I just have to do something. Sometimes that fight could be, oh, I'm gonna have to do some work. Okay, so is this worth fighting for? And if it is, you need to stand up. You need to get out of problem mode and get into problem solving mode. And once you get into problem solving mode, then you can solve the problem. When you get into when you get into problem solving mode, you also have to be in silence so that you can see the solution clearly, because you're all intelligent, you're all smart people, okay? When you allow your brain to work and you allow your spirit to connect to your brain and you allow all this stuff to come into your consciousness, then you're able to see the truth. You're able to see through the veil of illusion, of fear, and all of those things. You're able to see the solution because it's always there. There's always a solution to every problem right in front of you. It's just whether or not you're seeing it. And so it's important for you when you are feeling these. Let's go back to the emotions that you feel when things are not going your way. When you're feeling the fear, when you're feeling the lack of acceptance to what's happening, it's important that you let go of the wound. And so I'm going to talk about how to let go of the wound. There's just a couple of tips that I have that are super easy no matter what level you're on in terms of your experience, but super easy, and it works effectively. It's important that you let go of the wound. And the wound that I'm referring to is it's a micro trauma that's happening. And sometimes it could be a big trauma, depending on how important the thing is that is being threatened right now. But there's micro traumas that are happening. And these micro traumas create wounds. It's a point of impact. It is a point of, oh my God, this just happened. I'm afraid this isn't what I'm working on isn't going to come forth. And therefore, I'm going to cower in a corner and all these things, right? So that wound gets bigger and bigger if it's not cauterized, if it's not healed. And so it's important, as soon as you recognize this, that you let go of the wound. Part of that wound is the lack of acceptance, that attachment to the outcome. But it's not even attachment to the outcome, it's an attachment to the path. The attachment to the path has to go this way. It needs to go that way. I don't want to hear any other direction. I don't want to. I don't want to see anything else in the path other than what I expected to be in that path. And so then we go through. You have to go through kind of stages of grief, because you're grieving what you thought you were going to be experiencing. Okay, and you have to go through those stages of grief. What's the last stage? There's 5 stages of grief. The very last stage, which you have to get through before you can actually move past it, is acceptance. And so when I say the wound, I'm talking about that lack of acceptance of that reality, and also the fear that is deepening. At the more the days go on, the fear, even the more minutes go on, the fear deepens. That fear is always rooted in a lack of self-trust. And so you start to diminish your power, you start to dim your light, even without, obviously you're not trying to dim your light. You're trying to surpass it. But that's what happens. That's what naturally starts happening when things like this happen, and when your responses or your reactions are that way. And so letting go of the wound, one of the things to do is a burn ceremony. This is very simple. These are very simple things that you can do. And it's also this particular thing is a very common thing. You just simply write down what it is you're releasing, but you have to do it with intention because a lot of people do burn ceremonies and they don't do, and it nothing gets released because they're just writing it down and they're like, okay, let me burn it. But everything, no matter what you do, understand this in energy work, in magic, in whatever you do, right? Everything has to be done with intention. The intention is what matters. That piece of paper doesn't have any power in it. That pen doesn't have any power in it, okay? Until you put your intention in it and your focus in it. So when you write down what you're releasing, you need to be pouring your emotional energy onto that paper. That's what needs to be happening, okay? And there should even be some tears while you're writing it. Like it needs to be an emotional process in order for this to really actually work to fully release. Okay. And especially you do this in the beginning because, as I say, it deepens and deepens and deepens. And the more it deepens, the harder it is to release. Okay, so you want to do this right away. A burn ceremony works best when it's like fresh. Okay, it works very powerfully when it's fresh. When it's not so fresh, you have to do other things in addition to that. But a burn ceremony, you basically write down what you want, what you're releasing, right? Then you fold the paper away from you. This is the little hoodoo. Okay. Well, this is generally, you can do it however you want to do it. There really are no rules, but you can fold the paper away from you, and then you burn it. Okay, and as you burn it, you are releasing it. The fire is transmuting it, is transforming it, it is turning it into something else. Okay, you can even use that burn ceremony as a transmutation ceremony to take that energy and transmute it into self-trust, transmute it into love, into prosperity, into clearing the pathway, a force that then goes and clears that pathway instead of, things like that. So know that you can do a lot of things with that burn ceremony. That part is a little less common. But you can do a lot of things with a simple burn ceremony like that, and simply with your intention. And again, your intention is key. You have to be focused in that intention. You also have to believe in what you're doing. You also have to, because our consciousness affects our reality. So if you don't believe in what you're doing, then it's not going to actually happen, or you're going to create resistance in the field and it may happen a little bit and not fully. So you have to fully be focused and ready and in your power. Like I would say, stand in your God form. You have to be in your power at the moment while you're doing that. But you can use that burn ceremony to transmute and then flip it and reverse it and affect and blast through that and clear the pathway as well. Another thing that works really well, instead of a burn ceremony, it's a release into a body of water. So you can do the same thing where you write down what you are releasing with emotion, with passion, with focus and intention, and then again fold that away from you. Then you can get like a little string or a rope or something, tie it to like a rock, and toss that into a moving body of water, or and the paper will disintegrate, don't worry. But into a moving, don't do plastic, okay? But we're going to be nice to the environment. But you can toss that into a body of water. You can also bury it. You can do a lot of things, but that helps to release it. Burying it helps to. If you bury it, I would put something along with that really definitely transmutes that, because the burying also not only does it kind of take it away and kind of uh, I'm seeing numbers instead of words. Sorry. I'm getting the number 9, which is terminating. But anyway, to getting it away. Welcome to my world, people. This is what happens in my head. Anyway, um, uh, not only does burying take it away, but it also grounds it into physical reality as well. So while you are taking it away, you can begin to ground something else into physical reality, is what I'm saying. So you can do the burn ceremony and then also add with that, maybe even put it into the string that you're tying to the rock, or that you tie around the paper. You can infuse that string with intention to take that energy, get it away or whatever, but or maybe even just transmute that energy into something else that you want to ground into your new reality, like that. So using earth energy. By the way, Mystic University, we are having a working with the elements class at the end of this month. I forgot what date it is. But if you're interested in that, go to mysticuniversity.net and see that. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff about working with earth energy and stuff like that. It's going to be really fun, but also a little different than what you normally find, because we're also going to connect that to higher levels of consciousness and all kinds of stuff. So, things that I do I always do a little skew on things, very different. Okay, so Iman said the Phoenix for Mystic University students, the Phoenix group ritual just came to me as well. To be reborn in acceptance. Okay, yes, we did that a while back. Yes. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, there are a lot of things that you can do, as I just explained. Very, very simple. You don't have to be super experienced to do these things, and they will still work. Obviously, you guys know that I teach a lot more advanced things. And so you can go to Mystic University for that, because we don't have enough time here to explain those things. But what I just shared with you is very, very effective. And the key is to do this at the beginning. Okay, so yes, she just said that the working with the elements, Earth, is June 25th. So this is a series that I'm doing with working with different elements, and starting with Earth. This is a new series that we're doing at Mystic University. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely go there and check it out. Get your ticket. You can either purchase the class by itself, or you can get the all access pass, which gives you access to all 150 plus classes, plus live classes and everything that I do. So definitely check that out. So you have all the tools. You have all the tools. If you are going through this right now, and you're feeling this is resonating with you, right? You're in a space right now where things are not necessarily going the way that you wanted them to be, or the way that you expected them to be. Know that you have to get out of that wound space. You have to get out of the wound space, get out of the shock of that newness, of the new surprise, of that pivot, and get into problem solving mode, get into silence, get into healing, and get into movement, and be ready and willing to fight for yourself, and be ready and willing to fight for your dreams and your future. Your dreams are spiritually necessary. So whatever it is that you are willing to fight for is worth fighting for. Whatever you are willing to fight for is worth moving things for. It's worth taking the effort to do. Yes, you have to go to battle. You have to go to battle. If you don't go to battle, then you automatically lose the battle, because you have to go to battle. Okay. And sometimes that battle is more physical. Sometimes that battle is more spiritual. Sometimes that battle is more emotional, mental. Sometimes that battle is simply taking actions in the physical realm. Whatever you have to do, if it's worth fighting for, then do it. And remember that there is absolutely nothing that you can't do in this world. There's no goal that you have that is unreachable. I don't care what anyone tells you. Don't ever listen to anybody who tells you just be realistic. No. Realistic is infinite. Okay? Realism is I can do whatever it is that I want to do. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take me to do it, how much effort I'm going to have to put into it, and whether I'm willing to fight for it. Those are the only caveats to you can do anything. Are you willing to fight for it? How much time is it going to take? And are you willing to actually do it? Okay, that's it. But everything that you want to achieve is possible. So don't listen to anyone who tells you otherwise. And be ready and willing to fight for yourself, and fight for your future, and fight for that end result. Fight for that path. Okay? Don't allow boulders or obstacles or pivots. I mean, not pivots, you want to pivot. Don't allow obstacles or surprises to come into your path and then you just stop. What is that obstacle to you? It's nothing. That's how you have to be. Okay, you got to be cocky with it. You got to be a little gangster with it. Like that's nothing. That is nothing, because I know my power. You should know yours. That is nothing. All right, I'm gonna read a comment. We get tired of obstacles. We get tired of seeing others who seem like they have everything they want. Yes, and that's real. That's definitely real. Let go and shift in or lean. Yes, that's definitely real. And remember, there is not a single person, not that, first of all, not that you should enjoy other people's suffering, okay? But just because as humans you like to compare yourself to other people, there is not a single person who doesn't have problems. Okay, there's not a single person. I don't care how perfect somebody looks on the internet. There is not a single person who doesn't have any problems ever. Like you can have periods of time where you have no problems, but there is never a single person who never has a problem, who never has an obstacle, who never has things that they have to fight for, because that's life. That's life. If we are all in these human bodies, we are all equivalent in that we have problems and we have obstacles and we have to fight through those obstacles. Okay. So, not a single person. So, don't feel like, oh, why am I the only one? You're not the only one. Whoever, whatever you're going through, trust me, you are not the only one. Whatever you feel is you are not the only one. And when you feel like you are the only one, what's happening is you are slipping into victim mode. I'm just saying. Message. Okay? You are slipping into victim mode when you start to think like that. You start to think, oh, why only me? No one else is going through this. You are not the only one going through what you're going through. There are lots and lots of other people going through the same thing. People just don't talk about it, just like you're not talking about it. That's just what happens. People keep certain things to themselves. However, everyone has problems. We're all human and we have things that we have to go through. And so when you have to go through it, you just have to go through it. And you have to, but you don't have to go through it very long. That's what I'm telling you. You can, if you get out of problem mode and you get into problem solving mode, then you don't have as much, you don't have to spend so much time in the problem. Because as soon as you get into problem solving mode, you find the solution. And then you can move out of the problem faster. The longer you stay in the problem, the longer you delay the solution. Okay, so that's real. All right, so I have a rational hatred to statements, starting with "I'm the only one." No, Keisha, you're never the only one for anything. Right, right, and this is fact. This is fact. So think about that. The things that our inner narrative, the things that we say to ourselves, why? Oh, this, and why this isn't fair. Why do I have to be going through this? Because you're human. Okay, you are not separate from anyone else on this planet. In fact, we are all one in reality. So just because someone else looks like they're having a perfect life doesn't mean that they are. And it doesn't mean that um, you're the only one going through what you're going through. Okay. So we need to also um, shift that thinking that life has to be fair, that everything has to go our way, and that we're not supposed to have anything come in and interrupt things. Because guess what? You wouldn't be human if you weren't if you weren't here for that. You would not be here for that. Okay, we're all here for that, and that's part of what makes us grow. Those challenges help us grow, and so on and so forth. And remember, suffering is a choice. So if you stay in problem mode, then you continue suffering. If you get into problem solving mode, you alleviate your suffering. One or the other, choose. Are you willing to fight for yourself? So I'm going to end this with that. Are you willing to fight for yourself? Are you willing to fight for your future? If what you want to happen, if your goals, if your pathway has just been interrupted, and you want that bad enough, then you have to stand up. You have to get out of problem mode and get into problem solving mode. Go into silence, receive, and get into action. Bam. That's all I got to say. All right, everyone. All right, everyone. So hopefully you got all those messages. Okay. I know there were a couple gut punches for some of you guys today from the Cosmic Collective Consciousness. However, it is what it is. Yes, no more victim mentality. Yes, and there's a link to something that I did, one of the lives I did before regarding victim mentality. Watch that if you want more insight on that. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and at the same time. And we're about to play the song since we didn't do it at the beginning. We're going to try doing it at the end now. All right, guys. Zor Kumte. See you next time.
They never told you, did they? shadow dancing on their wall. But now the shadows start to fade, and you, my friend, are unafraid. Feel the weight fall off your name. Let the fire consume the shame. Stand in your God form.